Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Been a while since I've been live, right? Look, I have been seeing some crazy stuff for a while. Yes, I've mostly stopped reading comic books completely, entirely, right? Every so often I'll get some kind of a book, somebody asks me for a review, or I just send it, willy-nilly, whatever, and I'll take a look at it, sure. But for the most part, no. I'm so Oh god, I never thought I'd say this. I'm so sick of comic books nowadays. I'm talking about the modern age. Oh, hard to say I'm sick of comic books with all these still here. I could have just shoved these in storage, you know? I still enjoy going back and reading some of my old comics, and I do always intend through all of the stuff that I'm constantly doing to sit down and just start reading some old comic books with you guys, you know? But I decided, like I see so many things on Twitter. The Marvel Insider is now ending, which I guess is kind of failing. Whatever. I've always been a top tier member on there because of all the news I'd constantly ingest. Right, always checking out what's going on here, there, and everywhere. And yeah, and I've just been so sick though of reading comic books where Captain America doesn't like America anymore. What the hell is that? Right? Look, I get it. There's gonna be a bunch of people who are gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, back in the day, don't you know Captain America used to always be, against America and da da da." No, no, I don't think you read the comic books if that's your response. Because I remember many times when he'd be angry at a congressman or at a branch of the military or all of Congress or the freaking president. Right? I've seen lots of times when he would be angry at some bureaucrat, right? Or something along those lines, or even quit because I'm sick of the way that this country is currently going. But sick of America itself? No, he's never once gotten sick of America. He's never once been tired or not believed in the dream. Doubts here and there, about himself. Am I actually making a difference? But no. And I get it. I get it. Unfortunately, the world of politics and the brains of the current generation of people who are writing comic books, right? It's always this sense of and that's not an age thing. I'm talking about right now, the people writing comic books. You got people so completely infuriated about politics and all these crazy things, and it's annoying. God, it's so annoying to see these people who are so angry for this side or angry at that side or da 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 da. And it's like, bro, we've had worse. We just have Twitter now. We just have um Facebook, we have all these forms of social media that I usually try to avoid looking at when I can, right? Because man, the vitriol, the hatred that I'm constantly seeing on here, this isn't a way to live. This is going to affect how you work. This is going to affect if you're even going to be employed for long. I mean, all of your conversations. This is the reason why men used to always, watch sports. I think a lot of them still do. The ones I hang out with still do. And I'm not a big sports fan, but at least it gives you something to talk about, right? As opposed to the weather. But nowadays, when all you can talk about is how angry you are, and I've gone through this myself. I found myself being sucked in this too, which is one of the reasons why I just backed off of talking about this stuff as much as I can. So I've gotten really upset at some of the things that people are putting in comic books now. People who are being hired for even for art sometimes really bugs me, and comic books are more like I'm paying money to get somebody to preach their thoughts at me, as opposed to someone who actually loves this character and wants to see this character do something awesome. Captain America, man, just as an example, my favorite character. Captain America has always been the person where it's like if you don't like this, or you want to sit at your computer and type things and be angry, or you want to sit on your bed depressed, or if you want to go out and protest, or if you want to go out and fight for some kind of a cause, and it could be literally like the way he fights his cause. That's cool, man. It's all free speech. It might also require a little bit of mental assistance if you're shouting and screaming, "You're literally Hitler!" You literally need a shrink. But he was always okay with whatever. And he would just, like a man, tough it up, right? He would tough it out and he would just walk away, or he would turn and he would say a speech saying his part. He would make some big thing, whatever, and he would move on. But he would always go out and he would fight for what he believed in. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad stuff going on. So I'm going to try and every so often bring up my thoughts on something as this series. If I can even make this into a series, I'm just going to do it on the fly. I have a little bit of stuff prepared, right? I have two little videos I want to show you because I want to talk about right now the thing that just I see this and I'm always so shocked at the way that some people think. And I have to question, are they really fans? Maybe that's what I should title this series. Are they really fans? Right? And if so, what are they fans of? So have you guys seen the stuff with Iron Fist lately? And I'm not talking about the comic books. I'm talking about the MCU, right? The so right now the MCU is under the complete control of Kevin Feige for all intents and purposes, right? Before that, he was only in charge of the movies, and he was really good at it. But at the same time, he was also kind of a gatekeeper because Jeff Loeb was in charge of all the television stuff. And I'm talking about stuff that he did over on ABC, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., amazing TV. Like he brought in Strider and all sorts of cool things. I'm talking about stuff like he did the stuff on Hulu. Like he did the Runaways and Cloak and Dagger and some really good stuff there. And he did the Netflix stuff. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders, and Iron Fist. He did Iron Fist. No, I love me some Iron Fist in the comics. I am not cool with what happened in that Iron Fist TV show, Netflix show. Look, a lot of the stuff that Jeff Loeb has done has been great, and a lot of the stuff was pretty bad too. And apparently, Iron Fist was the worst of them all. Right? A lot of people believe that. I'm one of the people who absolutely believe that. And I know there were a lot of problems. I know I heard the guy who played, I was just talking about him not too long ago. I think it was just last night. I was just talking about it with some of my buds. The guy who played Nobu in the Daredevil TV series. Remember the red hand ninja, the leader of the hand who wound up coming back from the dead and whatnot? Can't remember the name of the actor. I'm not going to look it up, but he was apparently a cool guy, and he ran into some problems with what's his face, Jeff Loeb, where apparently, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently, and there's been some corroboration behind the scenes about this, apparently, that he said nobody cares about Asian characters or the background of Asian characters or something like that. If he really said that, that's kind of a dumb thing to say, you know? Um, could there be some reason for it? Maybe. Guys, remember, I'm pushing 50. I've been around. If you're very young and you're upset about something I say, please understand it's not that I'm an a-hole because I can be, but I'd rather not be. It's that I've heard too many different people's opinions or thoughts on things. So this guy says, "That guy's evil." And then I go over here and I start talking to this person. And then he says, "I'm not evil. I just believe such and such and such." And he gives, a pretty logical reason for believing the thing that he believes. Suddenly it shifts my thoughts on this person's beliefs. Suddenly it makes me think, oh, so he's got a reason for thinking like this. Is it a good reason? Is it a bad reason? Let me investigate. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been around enough that I know that just because somebody points a finger and says, "He's Hitler," doesn't mean that he is. You get it? Maybe the person screaming and all that stuff doesn't have enough of an understanding of the other side. And that's just the curse of youth, man. And I really wish more people would have that thought in their head because I had that thought when I was a kid, when I was a youth, right? The curse of youth is that you just don't know anything, and you think you know everything, and that's the problem. And I remember constantly trying to correct myself all the time on these things. Here's a simple little thing. This Finn Jones guy, all right? Finn Jones is that pretty boy actor who played, who'd he play in Game of Thrones? Loras Tyrell. He played Loras Tyrell. He was a pretty boy. He was the guy with the long hair who went against the mountain in, I don't know, first or second I guess in the second season or something like that. Whatever. One of the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones. The mountain, the big, huge SOB, right? Who killed Oberon in the most grotesque way imaginable. Um, what do you call it? Anyway, he went against, this guy and this Tyrell guy played by Finn Jones. He essentially bested the mountain, but the mountain wasn't cool with it, and he just beat the crap out of him. And then the mountain's brother, um, oh, for crying out loud, I remember his name. The hound ran down to protect the dumb kid, and then the dumb kid, Finn Jones, what do you call it? He's like gay with Oberon, and all sorts of crazy stuff is going on, and it's like that show is just wild. There was a lot of wild stuff going on in that show. It's hard to remember everything that happened. I literally had to look the stuff up and then start remembering, oh yeah, that's the guy who, because I couldn't remember who he played. I couldn't remember who Finn Jones played in this show. I couldn't stand Finn Jones in the um in as Iron Fist. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't see it, right? Let me bring up why my thoughts are on this sort of a thing right now. So, listen, I'm gonna play some videos, 2 videos, all right, over the in this presentation I'm doing. I might have to stop it once in a while to make a comment just so that I don't get copyright stricken or something like that. The video gets taken down or whatever. All right. I'll make it very, very brief just so I can break it up a little bit. Please have some patience with me. I don't like when people go on long diatribes in between either. Okay.
Willingness for the fans to see that happen. There's a lot of willingness for the fans to see that not happen as well. Like, I'm very aware of the critiques of the character and my role in it. But my response to that is like, give me a fucking chance. Like, I'm here and I'm ready, and I want to prove people wrong. And so I would love to see that happen.
So that's the video. I should have mentioned there's a curse word before. I know that before I had Richard Pace on and he started showing nudie pictures that he made, I used to have a family show where a lot of people would actually put my show on and the family would sit down and look at it. And then that got completely ruined. Anyway, what have you? Anyway, so and I am trying to make it more of a family show, and I did forget to mention that he dropped an F-bomb in that. Anyway, no more curses coming up in the next video that I'm gonna show you in a few moments. So he wants to come. He's apparently supposed to come back as Iron Fist, or he wants to come back, or whatever, because oh well, Daredevil's back and the entire crew is back. So well, let's just do everything again. That's not necessary. It's not necessary to do everything again, but I do believe that Iron Fist should be done again so they can be done right this time. Here's the thing: this guy is not the guy. Him saying, "Just give me an effing chance." Were there 2 seasons of this show? Weren't there 2 seasons? The second one being even more forgettable than the first one. And the first one, how many things happened to the first one? Plus his role in the Defenders. Literally, like, he was supposed to be the main character. Everything was supposed to be built around this guy. And literally, like, the only thing that anybody can really remember that he did, I mean, for the most part, was that conversation with Luke Cage about white privilege. I get it, that was a hotbed topic at the time. I'm sure there are a couple of strays who still constantly talk about white privilege, you're privileged, you were privileged since before birth, like Luke Cage said, and da 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 da. Okay, cool. Um, I remember when I was growing up in Asbury Park, I remember sitting around with some of the boys, and I remember it was brought up, there's a lot of people just can't get over things. In fact, there are some people who can't get over word is bond. I don't know if there's going to be some people who remember word is bond, but that's the thing. Like, instead of just saying, if somebody says, yo, did you really do that? Somebody would say, yo, word is bond. I did that, as opposed to, yeah, I really did it, or trust me, or something like that. Sometimes you'd start testifying, and it's just a form of testification, which is as a person who grows up and you start learning virtues, you start realizing that you don't say, like, judge, honestly, because the judge is right away going to say, why do you have to? So wait, so the other stuff you were saying wasn't honest? Or, listen, I'm telling the truth when I say this. Sometimes people think I need to say this because what I'm about to say is so wild that nobody's going to believe it, but you're better off just simply saying the thing that you want to say, as opposed to making a testimony of truth before you say the thing that you propose is the truth. Just say the thing, right? This is just a virtue that men should grow up. All people should grow up with. But I'm not here to tell women how to act. Um, I'm telling young men a very strong virtue of being a man is to tell the truth and don't qualify that it is the truth by saying that it is the truth, because it serves no purpose. So just keep that in mind. So the word is bond thing was just, it was silly. But there are still people who would keep on saying it despite the idea that nobody was saying it anymore. Anyway, that's where that comes from. So I see this thing on Twitter, of all things, and I see people saying, "Yeah, give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance." I get it. I get it. There are a lot of people who are gonna be fans of this guy. I did not like Finn Jones. I liked almost everybody else who was in there, right? I love the Colleen Wing scenes. That's about to be justified in a moment. I'm gonna let somebody else tell you that I'm telling the truth on a thing. I'll get to the comments in a bit, guys. I love yous. I love all of you. We're live for a reason. I will get to comments. I need to get all this stuff out first. Don't get mad at me. Anyway, Jessica Henwick, who played Colleen Wing, I think that was her right next to him while he was talking. But I kept on complaining, and mind you, I am a martial artist. Since I was 8 years old, I have 3 black belts. I've done judo. I used to teach judo when I was in the military. Not the entire time, but I learned judo in the military, and I got so good at it that I started teaching it. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I started, learning that stuff and whatnot. And like, there's a lot of martial arts that I love. I love the history of it, everything about it. So of course I sat there and I thought to myself, maybe I'm just being a butthead. Maybe I'm being a gatekeeper, that I don't like that Finn Jones's martial arts prowess sucks. That he does not come across as an iron fist that I would imagine in a TV show, a movie, or anything. This guy's supposed to be a kung fu guy. I am not a kung fu guy. I learned how to block kicks from a guy who did kung fu, and I was really impressed by that. And a couple other things, I glean a couple things here and there, right? And of course, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's martial art, comes from Wing Chun Kung Fu, which is a female derivative of Wushu Kung Fu. You understand what I'm saying? I understand the history of the martial arts in a very, like, it's a very conversational way. That's how much I love the martial arts. So I thought to myself, maybe I'm being a gatekeeper on the whole Finn Jones as an Iron Fist who doesn't actually know kung fu, clearly doesn't even know how to fight. Horrible everything. Maybe it's the choreographer's fault. Maybe it's Jeff Loeb's fault. Maybe it's his mom's fault. I don't know. But I do know that I was critical of it. And I tried to hold back on that stuff because I thought maybe I'm just really biased on this. However, I'm pushing 50. I still have a better physical frame than anything I've ever seen on Finn Jones. And I'm just going to point this out. There are actors, and you don't even have to bring in method actors for this. There are actors out there who, if you need to be fat for a role, you will eat more for the role. If you need to be healthy for the role, you will exercise and be healthy for the role. If you need to be tanned for the role, whatever it is, like you won't rely on makeup. You'll actually go out and get a tan, not a spray on tan. There are a lot of people who bust their butts to deliver a good physical presence, right? A lot of people who do that. This guy was not one of them. This guy had zero physique, and it infuriated me seeing how weak he was. Just skin and bones, flabby, not even any bulk to him. Meanwhile, what I'm expecting is this guy's tight, rippling, right? I'm expecting to see a full-on six-pack when he takes off his shirt. This guy was wearing clothes all the time, shirts all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I need to see a bunch of naked, glistening, sweaty men. Not the way I go. But I want to see that this guy actually looks like a freaking martial artist. Was anybody hot for Bruce Lee when the guy used to take off his shirt and you'd be like, damn, he's going to kill everybody? Look at this guy's physique compared to all the people who are about to eat his fist of fury and his whirling nunchaku. Like, that was terrifying. When this, tell me I'm wrong when I say this. If you're getting ready to square off against somebody, he pulls off his shirt and he's just bang like that. He's got bam, 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 bam. He's just everywhere. You're going to be like, I think I just heard my mommy calling me. And it's cool. It makes sense. It makes sense, right? I want someone who's going to be a martial artist to be imposing. Could you imagine if we had Don Cheadle playing as Luke Cage? Ha ha! Just think about it. No, 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 no. Don't run away. Put that image in your head right now. Put that image in your head. He plays a great war machine. But do you really want to see him playing Luke Cage? This is what I'm talking about. You have to look the role. And this guy, I looked at him, I said, this guy, he didn't even work out for this role. Who picked this moron? So let me play this next video clip, and I'm probably gonna have to remember, I'm probably gonna have to cut in right in the middle of it just to give a very brief 5-second comment or something like that, just so I can break up the video so I don't get copyright stricken on this. All right. Please don't be angry at me. It's just something that I gotta do. Here we go.
Iron Fist or, Kung Fu and of course Warrior, you know what I'm saying?
Iron Fist, don't say that one.
What was that one, bro?
Okay, so I'm actually going to break it up here because of good reason. He just mentioned Iron Fist, Kung Fu, and Warrior. These are movies. So this guy right here is a choreographer. All right, the guy on the bald guy without the hat. He's a choreographer. I can't tell if you can see my mouse or not. Anyway, he is a choreographer, and he worked on those 3 movies. I don't know what else he's worked on, but those 3. Kung Fu being it's a Bruce Lee project, right? That's going to come up later if we need to go the full 2 minutes, 16 seconds or whatever. So he was the choreographer on Iron Fist. So listen to what's about to be said.
PTSD.
We all know, though, at the end of the day, that the final product is not always.
It was like they had no idea. Like, Johnny and myself were doing 21, 22-hour days, trying to make words, and have the directors go, no, or Marvel saying, no, or everyone's fighting, and like the actor doesn't want.
So gonna have to bring it back a little bit. So he just acknowledged that the directors, the writers, whatever, they would oftentimes say, no, this guy and his bud are working 21 hours days often to try and make the choreography of the whole show fantastic. What was the third thing he said? The actor isn't interested. Let's continue.
Everyone's fighting, and like the actor doesn't want to train, he doesn't want, and like, guys, throw me a bone, give me something to work with here. That's why the best sequences were with Jessica Hennick, because she trained 4 hours a day and she had zero martial arts experience, And we had great guys. We had like Hiro Minami teaching all the part. Now teaching like Kido and Judo. Teaching us some Kenjutsu, and then we teach a little bit of Kung Fu just to add in there. And then, and then it was just, yeah.
Don't worry about it. From my perspective, just so you know, and a lot of my friends, like, we don't judge based on that. We've been on so many shows where the previews you turn in, right? And you see the final product and you're like, what were they looking at? Or, for example, I have a movie coming out this week, and
yeah, I don't care.
I'm hoping that it was just on Instagram, but there's no sound effect, and I'm like, I have no control over this.
Real
but
cool.
as you know, it's our job.
Like, I don't want to hear about you, bud. With all due respect, you have a guest. Let your guest talk. You notice how I do interviews? I usually shut up unless I have something to contribute to entice more conversation from the person I'm interviewing. Yeah, that. Anyway, so he just got finished saying, if the actor, I'm an English teacher, maybe some people are going to sit here and try and play semantics with me. Wrong guy to play semantics with. Okay? He could be saying, look, if an actor, blah, 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 blah. But when you say the actor, the article of the, that indicates the main guy. And he even mentioned some other, guys, whatever. I taught some judo and a little bit of kung fu, just so they could do the move. And he praised Jessica Henwick, who plays Colleen Wing. That's why he says the best scenes were with Colleen Wing. He said, but prior to that, he says the actor isn't interested in training. Jessica Henwick, who played Colleen Wing, trained 4 hours a day despite not knowing any martial arts. The actor, evidently, demonstrably meaning, Finn Jones did not want to train. So when I'm looking online and I'm seeing people retweeting, reposting, commenting, all this stuff about, yeah, give him a chance. That piece of dog crap, oh, was that too mean? Had 2 seasons plus the 8 episodes of The Defenders. That was his chance. Excuse me. Those were his chances. He had zero interest. I remember seeing the first episode of season 2 and looking and being like, did this guy, he didn't bulk up at all. He had no interest in even looking the role. God forbid, actually training for the role. What the hell? Look, I don't know if the guy was naked at all or shirtless or whatever in Game of Thrones, but I remember the scenes that I remember, he was in full regalia and, just looking like a pretty boy. And he was in his suit of armor going against the mountain, looking like a pretty boy, right? And there'd be little things like that. That's cute. No, seriously, that's cute. Look, if you're a fan of Finn Jones, I get you saying, let him do this, let him do that, let him do whatever. If you're just a chick or a bro, maybe you're gay, I don't know, your business, not mine, I don't care. But if you just think Finn Jones is really pretty and he should be in everything, yeah, sure. I'm okay with that. But I'm speaking as a comic book fan. And that's mostly how I always try to approach things. Even if I say, let me take my martial arts background out of a thing, I'm always going to speak about a comic book character, movie, whatever, anything, as a comic book fan. I want to see something that makes me feel like this is, in fact, the character that I used to read or that I currently still read. I want to feel like he's doing the things that he would do, saying the things he would do. Do I need to see the exact story? No. I don't need to see Batman in The Long Halloween for such and such. No, I don't need to see that. I just don't. But there are certain things we're going to need to see. Case in point, if Batman's going around just killing people, I've got an issue. And I'm going to say, that's not Batman. Oh, These other 100 things he's doing are Batman, but that one thing isn't Batman. And just understand what I mean by that. I saw pretty much nothing that made me think this was the Iron Fist, except for the big scratch and sniff tattoo on his chest. That was embarrassing. You like Finn Jones? Cool. That's awesome. But as a comic book fan, no. No. Do not tell me you're a comic book fan. Do not tell me more specifically, because you could be a comic book fan. So let me specify this as much as I can. Do not tell me you're an Iron Fist fan if you want Finn Jones back on there. Tell me you're a Finn Jones fan. Tell me you're a whatever fan. Do not tell me you're a comic book fan. That's fine, but do not tell me you're an Iron Fist fan if you want Finn Jones back on this show. This guy was just embarrassing. Breaks my heart. Adnan Kabir, what's going on, brother? I think the Netflix show had good bones. There wasn't bad things about there. Hoping Born Again can redeem the entire Defenders project. Yeah, I could see. Hopefully, Nobu was great. Would explain the lack of ninjas and Defenders. Comic boom! Holy crap! There's a blast from the past. I love you, man. What's going on? Reports came out that he was forced to learn combat scenes a day before filming. Okay, see, that's actually a very interesting comment. Scuffendy. Reports came out that he was forced to learn combat scenes a day before filming. Based on what I just explained, could that possibly be because he didn't train? Look, if somebody sits here and tells me, hey, tomorrow we're going to shoot a scene, Bill, and I need you to do a wheelhouse combination. Okay, so that means that I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna need to do a hook kick, followed by a roundhouse kick, followed by a spinning heel kick. All right, and I'm gonna have to do that 3 times. So 3 moves 3 times, and I'm gonna end by dropping down to a knee and coming up with an uppercut and yell out, "Oh, you get cool." I can do that. Bill, tomorrow can do that. Do you know why? I would need to stretch. I would need to get back into it. I'd have to be like, look, let's go over this choreographer. Let's go over this again really quick. Da, da, da. But you know why I can do it? Because I'm a martial artist. Because I know those moves. Hell, I know the names of those moves. I can do those moves. I'm old now. I'm 50. It's kind of hard to throw my leg up that high, but I can still get my feet over my head, one at a time, whatever. I'm not doing drop kicks. Excuse me. But and I get it that he's not a martial artist, but if he were practicing 4 hours a day, hell, 1 hour a day with the choreographer, trying to learn some martial arts that the choreographers think you should learn, he would have been able to do that. What you just said, I don't know where you were going with this, but it's more damning against Finn than it is for Finn. And I didn't play that choreographer thing by the time you said that, so I get it. But that's more damning against Finn than anything else. If he were practicing the things that the choreographer felt that the actor should be practicing, he would have been a lot better for every single thing that he had done. Even if he was better on one thing, you could say, look, glimmer of hope, but we couldn't say that about this guy. I think they can make it all work with some more effort. Iron Fist, Luke Cage. Oh, 100%. But here's the thing. I just posted this on Twitter. What did I say? Where's my thing? I said, give me a chance. How many seasons does he need? Bud, you were miscast. Feige should rectify this mistake by holding new auditions for the role. You are not Chadwick Boseman. That was my point that I really wanted to make. Remember how it was said, we can't replace Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther? Yes, we can. Absolutely, yes, we can. And I love Chadwick Boseman to death. A lot of my friends whom you've seen at the time when Chadwick Boseman was sick, right? Talking about how his neck was so skinny. He's got a chicken neck. What's up with this guy? All these guys insulting Chadwick Boseman when we were seeing pictures of him. And I was the only one online. Go back and prove me wrong. The only person online who said, guys, you might regret what you're saying later, because he looks sick. And look what happened. I'm the guy who's always trying to give somebody a chance, right? So I still think Black Panther should be recast. You should have a new person playing um, T'Challa, because to me, that character is one of the Mount Rushmore characters of important characters that the world should know about, right? I think Captain America, Superman, and Black Panther are 3 characters that you should actually absolutely know about. Maybe I'll do a video on that one of these days. Who's the 4th person? Actually, I don't know. But just off the top of my head, those are 3 characters I think that the world should absolutely know about. So, anyway, yeah, this guy, Finn Jones, is not Chadwick Boseman. All right? No, I don't want to hear that nonsense. This guy needs to be recast. So, yes, I'd love to see Iron Fist. I'd love to see a new Iron Fist. Yeah, fight scenes were bad. Unless he refused to work out like, say, Robert Pattinson. See, that's something I'd heard also. I heard that Robert Pattinson didn't want to work out for the Batman movies. What a shame. Well, damn, that doesn't look good. See, Scuffy agrees with me. He flat out agrees with me. Can't believe he never trained, especially with Storm coming soon. Yeah, if we're going to be seeing some Storm, if we're going to be seeing X-Men, if we're going to be seeing all these great movies, guys, like this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. I love the idea that Marvel is finally getting out of this woke agenda thing. I know there's some people who are going to hate that I'm saying that, but guys, understand that sometimes a movement can be taken over. Understand that. Woke used to mean something good. Hey, I'm woke and I recognize that the world isn't exactly fair. I apologize. I don't like that I just coughed in your ear. I apologize, especially if you're an earphone user. I apologize for coughing inside your brain. But anyway, I get it used to mean like there's some injustices in the world, all right? It's not fair. Like there's some things, I don't even want to talk about them anymore. It is unfair that some things have happened in the past, right? Extremely unfair, unbelievably unfair. But when we're talking about like the 80s and things like that, we'd pretty much come to a rectification on these things. If there's still some people who are holdovers like, yeah, I still hate, okay, that's you. That's you. Black, white, whatever you are. I don't care. That's a you thing, because we were all able to get along, right? By the time of the mid to late 80s and into the 90s and everything, we were all just getting along. There were no racial tensions. Little tiny things here and there, individuals, but it wasn't a race versus race thing. That simply didn't exist. And now all of a sudden we're at bitter odds where we're talking about separation and country and like civil war and stuff, and it's insanity. It's such insanity. So the idea that something came back and all of a sudden was hijacked and taken over and all this stuff, again, that white privilege argument between Luke Cage and Iron Fist was just, it was so cringeworthy. It infuriating to me. Woke is okay, agendas are not. Yes, you preach to the choir, right? Keep on preaching, brother, because that's what I mean. Like it's okay, but no, it got too bad. It just got so ridiculous. There were people who had something to say, and then other people who wanted to be hold on while I get my voice right. Allies. Didn't do it right, but still. They wanted to be allies and they wound up taking over the thing is. So the message was completely lost and it was usurped and it had to become a movement, and it's ridiculous. It just became pure ridiculous. It was an embarrassment. Anyway, I'm glad that Marvel is getting out of that. And I don't know if anybody remembers this. I used to complain. I used to say that Martin Scorsese should shut the F up. Okay. Guys had some incredible films. A guy with almost zero range. How many movies did this guy do that didn't involve the mafia? Even his boxing movies involved the mafia, right? This guy has almost zero range. He's got about as many faces in acting as Ice Cube. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's a funny joke if you know what I'm talking about. No range. And yet he's complaining, yeah, the Marvel movies are all the same. It's just a circus show and blah, 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 blah. Uh-huh. Shut up. Martin Scorsese, shut up. Shut up. Nobody needs to hear your opinion. The Marvel movies are making more money than you're making. Cry me a river. But then Feige starts listening to these people, the Jodie Fosters, the who's that guy who wasn't Jet Li in the that movie War? Jason Statham, that guy who refused to play Bullseye, right? And said, "Oh, these movies are a joke." Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, you played in what was that movie? Crank, something like that, where he's doing everything to keep his heart going. He's playing some of the dumbest movies, but he's going to insult the Marvel movies. Okay, sure, cool. We're talking about some of the most successful movies imaginable. Nobody can imagine. People could go outside wearing shirts like this and they wouldn't get beaten up, even if they were skinny little nerds. A lot of skinny little nerds lost their lives, their dignity at the very least, when I was going through high school, if they wore a Spider-Man shirt or anything like that. All right? Times have changed, and it's because of that first 2008, 2009 Iron Man movie and the movies that succeeded, minus Captain Marvel. They wrecked that movie. That's a good character, and they wrecked that movie. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's the cast, sometimes she just went crazy. Even her fellow actors didn't like her. Carol Danvers is a cool character, but not the way they portrayed her and made her in the Captain Marvel movies. Anyway, there's a lot that could be done, but you have to stop listening to the wrong people. Kevin Feige was more interested in following what Scorsese and all these people said, the film, because he wanted, film credit, actor, guild, Oscar, whatever stuff, right? How about you just worry about making a lot of money? Because they were making more than enough money. They were making quite literally billions of dollars, billions of dollars, billions of dollars, billions of dollars, not millions, right? Billions. You remember that? The Cash Money Crew, whatever they were from WWE? Millions of dollars, millions of dollars. Titus O'Neil and Daryl something. Anyway, they were making great money. And they gave all of that away and alienated the true fans by giving us woke nonsense, by hiring actual Hollywood, what you call, whatevers, for crying out loud. What the heck were they called? The directors, actual Hollywood direct, beloved artsy, but we don't want to see that crap. There's certainly a fan base for the Eternals, but they're not comic book fans. They're not Eternals fans. They're just not, right? They're little girls with pink hair who wear Megadeth t-shirts, who meet Dave Mustaine in the airport, and he says, "Hey, cool shirt," and they say, "Ew, creepy old man," because they don't recognize Dave Mustaine. They don't know who Dave Mustaine is because they were never fans of Megadeth. By the way, that really happened a couple years ago. That actually happened. Wearing a Megadeth shirt, the lead singer, guitar and guitarist extraordinaire who made the guitar for all the original Metallica songs, because he was originally in Metallica, and she didn't recognize him and called him a creepy old man. Like, this is what I'm talking about. These are the kind of people who are screaming the loudest on the social media saying, the Turtles was a great movie, but you are not a great fan. You are allowed to like the movie, but I think it should be now. I'm here to gate, because we're all gatekeeping. We're all gatekeepers in some small or large way. The horrible writers who are ruining comic books nowadays are gatekeepers to my characters. You know what I'm saying? So we're all gatekeeping something. Don't tell me you're an Eternals fan. Don't even tell me you're a huge comic book fan if you think that the Eternals was a really good movie, because there's too much wrong with it for that to be the case. Anyway, it's things like this that are on my mind. I'm going to try and come back and do more things like this. John Wright, what's going on, brother? Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing stuff like that. Morela, I know his name. Oh, for crying out loud, Moreda. Ayodole, I think his name is. Fantastic person, incredible writer. I think Doughton is still doing the art, and he's an incredible artist, and I love seeing that African presence in the comic books. We need more of that. We do need more actual representation. And this is by using the characters we've already got or creating new characters, but creating them for a good reason. And it doesn't matter if you're black or white or whatever you are. Listen, it's entirely plausible that two old Jewish guys could create the greatest African character ever in fiction. Yeah, wow. That would be T'Challa, the Black Panther, by two Jews, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Imagine that. It doesn't take black people to write good black stories. It helps if they know the stuff. It doesn't take white people to make great white characters. It doesn't take anything to you have to actually have a great idea, know how to present the idea, and put it on. And if you're Finn Jones, you don't belong in movies. Not playing Iron Fist, at least. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to bounce. It's good talking to you guys. I love you all. I haven't done this in a while. Professor Bill, Comic Book University.